I always knew I wanted to be an attorney. I just like helping people.
Are you okay? Do you need any help? Thanks, Christopher.
I've been in Vegas helping the little guy since I was a little guy. Are we any good at helping you win? No, we're great. Call us now for help with your injury case.
Videos where you have an officer basically around the neck area.
These two retired Vegas cops, now podcast hosts.
You know, they don't have ID, they can't get into a hotel room. To get them the help they need, especially if someone even gets arrested. A lot of people don't know how the justice system works.
You guys have going on is necessary, it's needed.
Hey, it's David Kohlmeyer, the Problem Solver. Thanks so much for joining us today, Tuesday, 6 p.m. every single week. Channel 14, we're here trying to solve problems. As usual, my great co-host, Danny Minor's here. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Let's go.
Danny Minor, let's go. And we have beautiful Beja Rivera. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Let's talk about it.
So today, we're going to have some great people on the show, but I wanted to talk about some, like, I guess, in the news type of issues in general. It's kind of been a little bit of a crazy week in general, so I wanted to talk about some topics. We're also going to have an Airbnb specialist who's a realtor talking about Airbnb, the new laws, things that are taking place illegally and legal as well, and the new laws that are changing. We also have a great doctor, Graybo, who is a hand surgeon, something a lot of people are injuring themselves also with cutting avocado, which sounds kind of crazy. So it's definitely a problem there, you know? But
Avocado Hand.
Avocado Hand. So we're going to talk about that today as well. So we have some great guests. But in the news in general, and as usual, since, you know, and I'm sorry, Beja, since we're retired cops, we always got to talk a little bit about crime or what things are going on. How do we solve the problem? How do we prevent crime? And what we could do in the community to make a difference. But
because I want to talk about avocados in our hands all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. But we every single week we have different topics. So anyway, so Danny, tell us a little bit what happened. There's attempted murder that took place. It looked like a robbery took place. Tell us a little bit about what took place.
Well, it looks to me like it was going to start out to be a carjacking, right? And then it comes to a homicide. I mean, he tried to kill the guy. I mean, he keeps trying to shoot the gun. He keeps trying to crank back a bullet into the gun. Luckily for that guy, he had a bad gun. I mean, you barely ever see a gun that doesn't go off, especially a semi-automatic. So something had to be seriously wrong with that gun. But he tried to kill this guy. Mm-hmm. This is attempted murder. This guy should be off our streets in Las Vegas. This is horrible. I don't know what else to say. The only way you could solve this is put him behind bars. And you got to watch when you're walking to your car. Look for suspicious people. Mm-hmm. Look, just don't walk with your head down looking at your phone.
Looking at your phone.
You're looking. You're looking. What's out there? What's suspicious? What's going on? A lot of people, their heads are in their phones.
You know,
another thing too, I remember our first meeting together, just because he's so used, he's been a cop for 17 years. He always has to sit somewhere facing the door. His back has to be towards a wall. I feel like that's another.
The key is, I think, for anybody, and we're just different because we're trained, but to be prepared and be aware.
Yeah.
But what's very interesting, and you probably never heard this before, but if you are parking in a garage, technically, if you drive in the garage, you should always be looking in your rearview mirror before you get out. And as you close the garage,
totally.
I do that
as you close your garage door, you should be looking in your rearview mirror. You do that?
Of course, I'm a single mom.
A lot of people don't do that.
I do it.
I do
You
it.
watch
I don't
the
have
rearview mirror,
anybody.
But people could
It's
still
really
sneak
dark in
in
my neighborhood. Yes, of
You
course.
gotta be careful. You gotta be aware. Watch your rearview mirror. Have lighting on in the garage as well before you get out. And honestly, sometimes at nighttime, it may pay to wait a minute or two before you get out. Keep the doors locked,
Yes.
making sure that you don't see someone pop up on you, especially if it's very, very late.
I agree.
And be prepared. Basically, God forbid something's to happen. And a lot of people are just not in that mentality.
Times are crazy. You have to
Yep.
be really.
Yeah, and as you can tell, we just saw the video on the screen here as well in regards to it. So right now, the person's still outstanding. There is reward money available through Crime Stoppers of Nevada in regards to this particular attempted murder case. Someone that has information, they can contact 702-385-5555, which is Crime Stoppers of Nevada, for this specific reward money to identify this person. We want to basically stop this guy from trying to do it again. It could be your family member in general, and you got to be really careful. So again, Crime Stoppers of Nevada, 702-385-5555. Now, the next thing that's big in the news is in regards to Lake Mead again. What happened to Lake Mead again, Danny?
Unfortunately, another body showed up. Well, I mean, you could say unfortunately, but it's going to have at least put closure to some family. Hopefully they'll identify these 3 bodies so there's closure to these families. We had a family just going swimming out in Lake Mead trying to enjoy the day. Their kids see something. They said, Dad, this looks like a body. They come over there and it is a body. They contact Metro. And here we are with the 3rd body. Lake Mead just keeps showing us all its mysteries.
Just a torso.
Yes,
It was a whole
just a torso, yes.
And it's a crazy topic in general. And there'll be some pictures on the screen that are very graphic in general. But the bottom line is, it is a torso. And, from our experience, looking at and examining it, it does look like a male body part. Originally, I thought maybe it was a female. We had some experts look at the photos. It does appear to be a male body part. And, whether it was in a barrel or not, my belief that it was in a barrel. I think the Las Vegas Metro scuba diving team was out in Lake Mead looking for other stuff a day or two later, which I'm glad to see that they're out there because,
Yes.
I mean, they got to clean up and see what's going on there, especially nearby where they just located a body.
Just uncovering the mysteries of
Yes.
Las Vegas Lake Mead.
Uncovering the mysteries of Lake Mead.
Yeah.
Dave, I think you're going to find more as that lake goes down. I mean,
Totally.
You're talking
Before
what?
Christmas, you think how many?
I'm going to go with 5.
5 more.
I predict they'll find 2 more bodies.
He's going
before that.
over.
Because that lake just keeps going down. There's probably bodies exposed right now people didn't see.
Well,
And
what's-
hopefully they show that photo
Yeah.
of how much Lake Mead has changed and how much it has gone down.
So as the Problem Solver Show, as we're doing this spin-off show called the Las Vegas Crime Solvers, which we're working on in regards to September, one of the things that we do is reward money from the Problem Solver Show. We wanted to do reward money specifically this time in regards to identifying the body, who the body could be in general.
Come forth if you have any information.
Any information whatsoever. And with the Las Vegas Crime Solvers, in regards to the Problem Solver Show, the spinoff, we do have a number which is 1-833-TIPS-CASH. Again, the number will be posted on here as well, 1-833-TIPS-CASH, where you'll get cash money. If you have tips in general, you can remain anonymous. And it's kind of a similar program like Crime Stoppers in Nevada, but it's through the Problem Solver and the Las Vegas Crime Solver program. So again, if people have information, please use these different programs that are available. Again, we want to prevent these things from happening. It's sad what's going on in general, but again, as viewers of the community, if you have information, talk about it among other people. Maybe there's some old timers that want to share some information. We will be back after a quick commercial break and bring some great guests on the show. We'll be back in a quick minute. Hey, it's David Kohlmeyer. We're back here with the Problem Solver. Today we're with Jason Griggs, who's a realtor specializing in Airbnb. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So tell me a little bit about Airbnb. I know there's a lot of conversation online these days, new laws that are passing, being legal, illegal, different cities. Most people don't even know that there's 3 different cities in Clark County here, specifically Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. Tell us a little bit, you're the expert, tell us a little bit about Airbnb. First of all, is it legal and illegal where? Right now?
Right now, the city of Henderson has the most set standard laws and rules. So the ordinances are for short-term rentals. So the true definition of an Airbnb, which is you're renting your home out for a short period of time, 1 to 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. And so the city of Henderson came out with rules you have to get a license to operate your short-term rental. And so the big, I guess, rough about what's going on in the city of Las Vegas, Clark County, is there was no rules. So there's 13,000 of these Airbnbs, but none of them are legal. There's only 340 licenses currently in Henderson, and there's around 13,000 operating as a whole in this
Is it
entire
technically,
city.
would you say, considered illegally? Because there was no laws, right?
Right, they're operating illegally, yes.
Okay.
So there's
have
no
they
rule
been
set.
fined?
Yes.
People
so
are being fined. Over
there is a rule. You're not allowed to do it.
Okay, period.
And so if you get caught, then you get a fine. And so the fines aren't that hefty. That's the problem. And
How
so
much is the fine?
$500
For the one time that they catch you.
one time.
Okay.
But people keep doing it.
So if you're making $2,000, you're making 1,500 profit. It's just part of doing business.
Exactly.
Right.
It's kind of like a tax expense.
Yep.
They
Write it off.
hit you, write it off. That's
Yep.
it. And so people, the rules aren't strict enough.
Right.
And so what the city of Henderson did was smart, and they made a real rule set. You can do this, no problem. But here are the rules. You get a license and you operate it correctly, and you can make as much money as you want. And so now, what I was hoping was that the Clark County area was going to copy the city of Henderson, but they haven't. They're not going to. So the new rules came out, and you're only allowed to have one per owner, which is the big one.
Wait a second. One Airbnb?
Correct.
Owner.
One short-term rental per owner. That's it.
So
That's
rule
Clark,
number 1.
That's Clark
Yep,
County.
in the city of Clark County.
What about
yep.
Henderson?
Henderson? You could have multiple.
So how does that work? Like if you have separate LLCs or
So
There's always a way around it, right?
there's a way around it, but for the new rules that are coming out January 1st, one. You get one.
so that means so people can have multiple people, like their brother, their sister, their aunt.
Yes.
and Tony.
Right. They're gonna get
Tony.
people are
Uncle
gonna
Tony.
have to get creative with it. And so now I'll keep going into the rule set. They're only giving out 2,800 licenses.
Okay.
So now you have 13,000 of these things operating today, right now. If you go on Airbnb.com, there's around that. And now they're going to cut it to 2,800 licenses. How's that going to work?
There's gonna be more bodies in Lake Mead. With a tag that says like Airbnb.
It's going to be very interesting. It's either going to go one of two ways. People are going to listen and do it the right way, or it's going to be an absolute disaster. No one's going to listen. Now the city is going to have to
Right.
really bulk up their...
The thing is, they don't even have code enforcement there's always problems,
Exactly.
in general in the city. Now they're going to have Airbnb police to go out and police this thing. And
Right. And then the final question is, out of the 2,800 licenses, who's going to get the license? Why are you going to get the license over me?
well, the first thing is this: come January 1, right? If you just look at City Las Vegas, there should only be 2,800, right, Airbnb. So anyone it's very easy to look for, but it's harder to look for the address unless you book it, right? So they're gonna have to do fake bookings.
Right. So
to get the address.
the trick is what people do is they never put the picture of the front of their house. And so the only way they would get caught is if there was a noise violation and the cops got called, and they would go to the property and then figure it out. Because they question the guests. They say, "What are you doing here?" And they say, "Oh, I'm renting an Airbnb." Like,
Well, it sounds like it's a worthwhile investment for them to book one night and just to get the address and then just look up that address.
yeah, and they could do that. And
it's the city
I don't,
money.
I don't
They
know
just-
what the city is doing in that
And
regard.
then they just find everybody and they lock it up. They start putting padlocks on the door. The
Well,
problem is
he
they're
doesn't
not-
do anything local though.
So all mine are in Henderson, so I have licenses in all
Got it.
mine. I don't have any in.
I'm just saying for other people in general.
Jason, you said most of your houses are in Henderson, or
Yes.
all of yours? Okay, and you said Henderson's probably the best city right now that has it regulated, correct?
Correct.
What about HOAs?
So you are able to do them in the HOA if your HOA allows it. So
Right.
my personal residence, I live in an older HOA.
Okay.
And in the rule set, they never changed it. it says short-term rentals are allowed.
But they could modify the bylaws, right?
They could modify the bylaws at any moment.
It's a weird situation.
So it's a tough investment to put your money into something that says, oh, like the rules can change at any second.
Yeah.
And explain how it would work, like with the licensing. It's every year that somebody can miss the licensing.
Yep.
And jump in to get that spot, right?
Yeah, you have to renew your license. So with mine in City of Henderson, there's inspectors that come and make sure that the house is properly safe, ran correctly, and if it's not, they could take your license away. You have to renew it every single year.
So what are you looking for right now in regards to? I know that you're helping people. You're like an Airbnb consultant as a realtor.
Yes.
What are you looking for? Like if people want to call you specifically that are listening and watching, what are you looking for right now?
So the big thing right now in Henderson, Las Vegas, no one really knows how to do it correctly with the rules and the licenses. So I've been helping people with that. But bigger goal, I would like to buy as many vacation rentals as I can across the country. It's fun to build these things, and then you can use them. I use my Airbnbs all the time for events. I bring my lacrosse team there just to hang out, and so that's the real fun part. But now having them in multiple fun cities, that's the real goal.
Okay. And if someone wants to get in contact with your information, how you have social media or what's your number?
The best way is my Instagram. I'm always on that. J Griggs Real Estate. Shoot me a DM. I'm happy to talk the rules, the laws about what's going on. If you think you have a property that would make a great short-term rental, I would be happy to take a look at it and help you make some money.
So if someone has a property and they don't know how Airbnb works, and I have a friend that actually has a property right now, they tried to do like a rental, it's not working out. They can call you and you would figure out a deal like to manage it like for Airbnb?
Yeah, I can manage it for them. I could set it up. And you don't always have to do short-term rentals. You can do 30-day rentals, which are legal across the entire city. You could do 60-day, 90-day rentals, which are still very popular.
Okay, well, Jason, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm sure we'll have you come back in general, especially January 1st. It'd be interesting, with the new laws and what takes place in general. So again, Jason Griggs with Jason Griggs Real Estate. If you need to get in contact with him, he shared his information. You could always scan the QR code that's on your screen. If you want to get in touch with us, the Problem Solvers, we can connect you as well. Again, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll have you back another time. When we get back here, we're going to actually meet with Dr. Grabo, who is a hand surgeon that deals with carpal tunnel syndrome and something called the Avocado Hand, which is something unusual. We'll probably have to stay away from avocados after he gets on the show.
I don't know. It made me laugh for some reason.
So
thank you guys for having me on. I really
Jason.
appreciate
you
it.
coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
We'll be back in a quick commercial break.
Injured? Call 602-HURT. Car accident? Call 602-HURT. Pacific West Injury Law, a firm that focuses on you. Our firm is dedicated to you and your recovery. No fee until we win. Millions recovered. Here when you need us.
Hey, it's David Kohlmeyer, the Problem Solver. Welcome back. Today, we also have Dr. Ryan Grabo with Concierge Carpal Tunnel and Hand Surgery. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So real quickly, in regards to something that I've recently heard of, which I didn't know much about, it's called Avocado Hand. What exactly is Avocado Hand?
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
You are saying it exactly what we call it is. So we know back in the day, bagels were a very common cause of hand injuries. People would hold a bagel in their hand, use a knife, slice right their hand. And then somebody got the great idea, hey, let's make bagels that are already cut in half. And then that kind of went away. Well, now with everybody loves avocados, we're seeing people injuring their hands. And when I'm saying injuring, they're cutting nerves and tendons, which means they have to have surgery. And some of these tendon injuries, they're life-changing. We can fix them. It's never the same. So essentially what Avocado Hand is, someone's holding the avocado in their hand. They're using a sharp kitchen knife. Typically, unfortunately, they're watching YouTube and seeing these chefs do it. And so they're cutting it in half, and then they're trying to use the knife to go into the pit, and they bounce right off the pit through the skin and right into their hand. Now, surprisingly, you'll have people go, oh, that idiot. They're supposed to use the sharp knife and hit it into the pit and twist it. I've had a patient do that, and then they slice through their thumb, cutting their tendon and nerve. And then I've had someone where they were like, oh, I won't use that. I'll just use a spoon. And then they rammed it through their hand, and they didn't cut it, but then they went right through it. It's off.
And injured.
Yes. Now my roommate from college, he's from El Salvador, and he's saying, you know, are these guys idiots? He said, we used a butter knife. They don't go through it, but if you use a butter knife, that's great. One of the best things to use are all these cool tools that are out there now that are designed to take the pit out without doing it. If you see a chef doing it with anything sharp, you should not pick up a sharp knife to cut an avocado. Everyone does
So if you didn't go to culinary school, don't do it.
Don't use it, and don't hold it in your hand. Hold it on a towel to do that.
Well, the problem solved is basically stay away from the avocado.
Right, but yes, and enjoy it that way.
All right, so tell us in regards to your surgeon in regards to this stuff. Tell us a little bit of carpal tunnel. That's like your big thing. I know carpal tunnel surgery. You have different even experiences, people coming all over the world to Vegas.
Exactly. So concierge carpal tunnel, why we created that is to actually give people, all people, not just people who want to pay cash, but people with any type of insurance, Medicare all the way, TRICARE, we take all of it, a pain-free VIP in-office surgery experience. And what that means for patients with cysts in their fingers, trigger fingers, other lumps and bumps, sometimes foreign bodies, we do all these procedures in the office under local. That's our website is No Sedation Hand Surgery. And the reason why is there's no sedation. So for patients, you don't need to get medical clearance. You don't need to stop taking any medicines. You don't need to stop your blood thinners, which is great. From a carpal tunnel standpoint, I'm actually the only surgeon in the country who's trained in the 2 in-office procedures that allows me to do a carpal tunnel release with an incision that's smaller than the size of a dime. You're wide awake. It's under local, just like going to your dentist. My patients are relaxed. They're laying back like they're in a beach chair. They're actually watching an entertainment kiosk, watching either a show on Netflix or Prime Video or whatever, or we're chit-chatting during it. So we make it a spa. It's a true spa-like experience while we're doing the procedure.
And then after the procedure, I mean, you pretty much get it fixed, so they don't need therapy after, correct?
Correct. Because it's a micro incision. It's such a tiny incision. We're using a special device designed at the Mayo Clinic called the Ultra Guide CTR knife. So what this allows us to do is have such a tiny incision, there's minimal trauma to their hands, so they don't need therapy. Patients are able to use their hand within 3 to 5 days. Most people are back to work and using their hand, doing whatever they want to do. Elderly patients use a walker, a cane, or crutches. They can use it that night. They do not have to worry about putting any pressure on their hands. They can't hurt it. They can't undo what he did or screw it up.
Awesome.
So someone like Danny who likes to fish, if he had the surgery, when can he go out and fish? Like how many days later?
If we did it on a Monday, he could probably go fishing that weekend. But what we would tell the patient, we tell all our patients, and when they say, well, when can I golf or when can I do that? When you feel ready, you can. And the worst that happens is if you do too much, it's just going to hurt. Then you take some Advil or ice it and, try
So what you're saying is even if I did go fishing, like an idiot that I would be, the next day after surgery, I wouldn't hurt it anymore.
Yeah, right. The next day is a little soon. I mean, we wouldn't recommend it. We have people who go back to work the next day if they're doing, clerical work where they don't have to type and write nonstop. If you work at Amazon and you're lifting boxes or heavy force, probably 3 to 5 days is fine. But I've had mechanics who were just wrenches and pliers. 3 days after surgery, they were actually back working on cars with wrenches, wrenches and pliers.
Awesome.
And they came back a week later. They actually left their dressing on to protect the wound. It was covered in grease. And he said, Doc, you said I could do it. And I'm like, do you have any pain? He's like, no, it didn't hurt. So I figured it was fine. So that's the type of experience we like to offer to our patients.
So we had a physical therapist that was on the show, I think, last week. And he talked about like trying to do therapy. Now, would you say doing therapy a little bit to help somebody may help, but eventually that you may need the surgery? What's your take on that?
Right. So therapy, it's not that therapy can't help your symptoms. It's just what our studies show in the short term. Say you have a significant pain, therapy, stretching exercises can certainly mitigate or calm that down. But if you have diagnosed carpal tunnel, either by ultrasound or nerve study, and you have numbness and tingling that comes and goes, it will not be cured by therapy. So you can do those exercises to calm your immediate pain, but the only way to fix it, and if you don't fix it, you're going to continue damaging the nerve till you lose all the sensation and function of that muscle.
Okay, just share your phone number and your website information real quickly so that people have it. They want to get in touch with you in general consultation.
Not a problem. The phone number is pretty easy to remember, 833-HAND VIP. So it's
833 Hand VIP.
Exactly. And the website is No Sedation Hand Surgery.
No Sedation Hand Surgery. And it's called Concierge Carpal Tunnel and Hand Surgery.
Right.
And I really appreciate Dr. Ryan Graybo coming on the show in general. So if people have a problem in regards to needing surgery, need some help, consultation by him can be seen. Again, we want to help people. Like I said, my father, I think he has the same issue. Other people experience this problem. So the bottom line is we want to get some people to help. So I appreciate you coming on the show today. I appreciate Beja and Danny for co-hosting as usual. It's been amazing. We have some great people today. Like I said, Jason Griggs that was on here for real estate, Airbnb. It was amazing. Great information in general. Great topics that we've had as usual every single week. Again, we have a QR code on the screen. So if someone needs some help, scan the QR code and we're always available. Again, I'm David Coleman, the Problem Solver. We'll see you next Tuesday, 6 p.m.